What's going on, everybody? Martha Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. And today, y'all, we are looking at Amazing Spider-Man issue number 121. And today, y'all, we have led up to this point. This is a very shocking issue for a number of reasons. I'm not going to spoil it right here. I'm sure most of y'all know what this issue is about, but somebody dies in this issue, and we're going to find out just exactly who it could be. Is it Mr. Jameson, Harry? Who knows? But we're going to find out here, as this is a turning point, a cornerstone issue in the career of Spider Man and in all of the Spider Man mythos. It's a very important issue, and we're going to be looking at this one today. And so let's go ahead and get started here. This story is brought to you by Jerry Conway, who wrote this issue. We have Gil Kane and John Romita and Tony Mortorello doing the artwork and inking, Artie Simek on the lettering page, David Hunt, the colorist, and Roy Thomas on the editing. And so here we go. Spider-Man has just returned back from New York City. He had fought the Hulk in issues number 119 and 120 while he was in Canada. And while Spider-Man was on investigation, he received a phone call from Gwen Stacy saying that Harry Osborn has basically gone on a drug overdose pretty much, and he has been medicated heavily, and he's just had a crisis here. As we see there's a family doctor named Ray, and he unfortunately has some bad news, and that is that Harry Osborn has overdosed on LSD, as we see right here. And he said that he's given him a shot of Thorazine. It's a tranquilizer we use to offset the effects of the drug. And so we see Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane are looking on, and they just see their helpless friend here lying on his sick bed, and they're just so confused as to what would cause Harry Osborn to act out like this and do a drug overdose. That's something that we're going to have to try to figure out. And Spider-Man is eavesdropping here as he's listening in, and he's like, terrific. While I'm off battling the Hulk in Montreal, my roommate drops acid and cracks up. No wonder Gwen wanted me home. Harry's going to need every friend he's got. If only I could understand what made him do it, though. I mean, reality may have its unpleasant moments, but when you come right down to it, that's a lot better than burning your brain out with mind soap. So we see Peter is going to sneak into the Osborn penthouse here, and while he's trying to sneak in, he's going to be confronted by none other than Norman Osborn, who already has a lot of angst against Peter Parker to begin with, as he's sweating profusely. He seems to be cracking up here, and he's just telling Peter Parker, I don't want you here. I don't want your friends here. You're the cause of Harry Osborn and all his problems. You have been a terrible friend to my son. He said, and it's your fault. Your fault. And so then Peter Parker's starting to get worried here, because just a few months ago in the timeline of when he fought Green Goblin last, he had fought the Green Goblin in issues number 97 through issues 98 or 99, and that basically that he defeated the Green Goblin and caused Norman Osborn to basically relapse into amnesia and forget who he was, but he's worried that Norman Osborn is going to remember who he was as the Green Goblin. Well, Peter's going to see Gwen and Mary Jane, and Norman Osborn basically tells all three of them to leave the premises right now. And so they leave, and they're just like confused. Why is Norman Osborn being this way? We're just trying to be good friends for Harry. And what could cause Harry Osborn to do this to himself? And then Peter says, that's something we may never know, Gwen. What do you think, Mary Jane? I just don't know, Pete. I just don't. Well, we see Norman Osborn is on the phone, and he's just learned that his stocks are down another 13%. And he says if that continues to happen, he's going to be wiped out. His company's going to be wiped out. He's starting to worry a lot, and he's already, you know, worried about his son. His son comes out of his room worried about what he overheard from Norman Osborn, his dad, and he starts to collapse again. Norman Osborn calls for the doctors. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is swinging throughout the city, and he notices that he has received a cold after traveling all the way up to the cold Antarctic of Canada and the weather there and how cold it was with the 0 degree weather. He unfortunately has a cold virus or like a flu. And so he goes to the Daily Bugle to give Robbie Robertson the photos that he took of the Hulk and Spider-Man while he was up in Canada. And Robertson notices that Peter is sick. Jameson definitely does not like him since he's a germaphobe, and he tells Peter Parker he needs to leave. Peter, all he wants to do at this point is to go home, lie down in his bed, and sleep. But he's like, you know what? This is the only way to get there in time is to swing up as Spider-Man. So he changes to Spider-Man here. He's like, man, I really need to have a long talk with Wendy. I haven't talked to her in quite some time, and we could talk about Harry's problems as well. Well, we see that the family doctor comes back, and they're like, look, it's still your decision, but I believe that Harry Osborn still needs to go to a hospital. But it's just up to you. And so he leaves, and then Norman Osborn's like, how could I have known? Our enemies are everywhere. Men trying to ruin me, corrupt you, my only son. Enemies surrounding us. He starts to crack. He sees an image of Spider-Man, but it's just in his head. So now we see that Norman Osborn has completely snapped here. And what does he do? He leaves the building. He then is going to go to a secret hideout where he stashed all his Green Goblin gear. And here we go, folks. He has now become the Green Goblin once again. And this time, he's going straight to Peter Parker's apartment. And that's where he's headed next. But unfortunately, Gwen Stacy is in Peter Parker's apartment, and she is going to be kidnapped by the Green Goblin. Meanwhile, Peter Parker, as Spider-Man, is swinging out through the city. He's swinging towards his apartment. He is then going to go inside, and he notices that a pumpkin bomb has been left on top of the handbag that was given to Gwen for Christmas last year. And so now Spider-Man knows for certain that Norman Osborn has transitioned back to the Green Goblin. So he's going to swing out the window to go save his love, the love of his life. And while he's swinging throughout the city, he notices that the Green Goblin has Gwen Stacy on top of the George Washington Bridge. And so this is where we're going to see this tumultuous battle take place here, y'all. Spider-Man versus the Green Goblin once again, as Spider-Man tries to save the life of the woman he loves. And so we see Green Goblin is making threats here that he basically wants Spider-Man's presence to be out of this world, and he's going to kill his girl if he doesn't leave this life. And so Spider-Man's going to fight the Green Goblin as best as he can, even though he has a cold. And so he notices that he barely missed that pumpkin bomb. And once the Green Goblin, if he finds out that Spider-Man is sick, then it's going to be very bad news for him. So then we see Green Goblin is going to knock him down here with his glider. But Spider-Man's like, I've had it. This is my only chance for Gwendy's sake. And so Spider-Man webs the back of the Green Goblin, and then he's going to give one big wallop of a punch here to the Green Goblin, knocking him down. And so now with that momentary lapse here, he's going to then go to Gwen Stacy's aid. She is knocked out cold, but the Green Goblin regains his momentum here. He gets back on his glider. And what does he do? He knocks Gwen Stacy off the bridge, causing her to, fall to her death here. But Spider-Man is going to make a quick uh, thing here where he then is going to web Gwen as fast as he can. He webs her leg, but we see there's a snap here. And while he pulls Gwen Stacy up into his arms, he says, "Hey kid, what's wrong? Don't you understand? I saved you. You can't be." "No, oh no, 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 no. Don't be dead, Gwen. I don't want you to be dead. I saved you, honey. Don't you see? I saved you." But the Green Goblin reveals here, "A fall from that height would have killed anyone." He says, "She was dead before your webbing reached her, you romantic idiot. But for you, my friend, death will come more quickly and more surely than the shock of a sudden fall." "Wrong, Goblin. You're the creep who's going to pay. I'm going to get you, Goblin. I'm going to destroy you slowly, and when you start begging for me to end it, I'm going to remind you of one thing. You killed the woman I love." And so, yes, folks, this is the big revelation here. Who was going to die in this issue? It was none other than Gwen Stacy, the woman that Spider-Man, or Peter Parker rather, has been involved with romantically for a number of years in the Spider-Man mythos, but unfortunately in this issue, she has died. And so that is a big turning point in the life of Spider-Man. And what is going to happen? We're going to find all this out coming up next in issue number 122 as Spider-Man fights the Green Goblin in a battle to the death. And we're going to be looking forward to that issue coming up next. Go ahead now, drop a like on this video, and comment down below what you thought about this issue, and I will see y'all in the next one.